Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. This week we're test driving the 2015 Volkswagen Golf SportWagen. It's all new for 2015, and of course it used to be called the Jetta SportWagen here in the United States, but it's always been a Golf SportWagen virtually everywhere else. So this year Volkswagen finally brought that into the fold, and this is the TDI turbo diesel too, the most fuel efficient one you can get. Before we get too far into this review, the first thing I want to tell you is that I'm not entirely and completely disconnected from this vehicle. And what I mean by that is I'm a Volkswagen owner. I've owned probably a half dozen Volkswagens in the last 25 years. And I'm also, well, I wouldn't call myself a fan, but I do have an affinity for the TDI engine family line. I've owned one, and I do generally tend to like the idea of a diesel car. So I like to get that out front whenever I review one of these, just so you can keep that in mind. Now that all the disclosures out of the way, the 2015 Golf starts with an all-new chassis platform this year known as Golf 7 or MQB. The 7th generation Golf is longer and wider, yet in the case of the SportWagen TDI, up to 95 pounds lighter. The SportWagen shares the Golf 5 doors near 104-inch wheelbase but gets a 12-inch longer stretch at the rear. Design and facial features are identical to the rest of the Golf family, which itself mimics the rest of Volkswagen models very closely. As our SportWagen is a top-level SEL with options, it features the lighting package with bi-xenon headlights and LED daytime running lights. As ours also had the new for 2015 driver assistance package, room is made in the grille and bumper for its radar sensors. The rear hatch opens by pulling up the VW emblem, which also tilts automatically when the backup camera is engaged. It's a cute detail, but makes noises which take a while to get used to. No power liftgate is offered here yet, though it's not a huge necessity. The overall look is fresh and crisp and well planted with the 18-inch alloy wheels, which are part of the SEL trim grade. Notable is the new triangular window ahead of the front door, afforded by its windshield being moved forward. This strategy shows up inside, where a more spacious feeling is had from behind the wheel. Overall interior design is an evolution of VW's corporate design handbook. High-quality switchgear and a down-to-business layout are its calling cards. Our SEL had shiny piano black trims along with leatherette seating, a leather-wrapped steering wheel and shift knob, LED ambient lighting, and a large power-operated panoramic sunroof. The roof is a nice touch, but the shade, it isn't opaque, rather instead it has a mesh which still lets light and heat through. The steering wheel has a nice flat bottom design and features all the controls you need for the trip computer, audio system, and cruise control. There's even paddle shifters there for the option 6-speed DSG transmission. The center stack features Volkswagen's all-new touchscreen infotainment system with navigation and Fender audio. The new system has hard controls on each side of the screen for top-level menu selections, swipe and pinch motion controls, and a proximity sensor for your hand. Sound quality from the audio system is phenomenal, as we've come to expect from other Fender systems and Volkswagen models. The system offers iPod and Bluetooth connectivity, but there's still no USB port to be found here, even for charging your devices. Rear seat passengers will enjoy plenty of space afforded by that increased wheelbase, and headroom seems unaffected by that big panoramic sunroof. There are vents back there too for the HVAC. Those seats, of course, can be easily folded down in a 60-40 split for that full flat cargo area you buy the wagon for. With the seats down, you get a full 66.5 cubic feet of cargo area, and underneath that floor is some extra hidden space for smaller things you might want out of sight. Even a full-size spare tire if you dare. Well, now that we've had a chance to get a good look at this interior, let me share a few things that I think about it. The first one is it's very well put together as you'd expect with a Volkswagen. The switchgear is of a high quality, the fit and finish, the design, all very good. A nice evolution of the brand. A few things I'm not real jazzed about. The first one is this piano black finish that's in here. It's just not my bag. The big problem with it for me is the fact that it shows every fingerprint, shows every speck of dust all the time. Even after you clean it, it just never looks clean. It's almost like stainless steel appliances in your kitchen. The new touchscreen that's here, much better than the one it replaces, but still a little bit fussy to use, still a little bit Now, slow to the touch, slow to respond to your touch, so it still could use a little bit of improvement there. The other thing that really surprises me here is the fact that leather seating isn't available. We're in the top of the line SportWagen. We have leatherette seats, which are fine. I don't mind the leatherette, but if I wanted leather, well, I'd be disappointed because it's not even available. Under the hood this year is an all-new 2-liter turbo diesel engine which has 10 more horsepower than before, now at 150. Torque remains at 236 pound-feet and can be sent to the front wheels through either a 6-speed manual or 6-speed DSG automatic, which is optioned here in our tester. The engine, while the same size as before, is all new with a number of comprehensive changes that bring more power, more efficiency than before, and quieter operation. Among them is a new air-to-water intercooler which can be seen right up front. Power from this TDI engine actually comes on pretty impressively, and as you can tell, it really isn't that much noisier than a gasoline engine. And one thing that's pretty nice about this DSG transmission is it has the firmness in its shifts that you'd expect with a manual transmission, but of course the action of an automatic. One thing I am picking up on is a little bit more turbo lag than I remember when I tested the same engine with a 6-speed manual not long ago. And so while there is indeed turbo lag, I suspect the increase that I'm feeling might have more to do with the throttle tuning and the tuning of this transmission than it does actually with the engine. The EPA rates the 2015 Volkswagen Golf SportWagen TDI as ours is equipped at 31 mpg city, 42 mpg highway, and 35 mpg combined. We, however, were able to achieve a 43 mpg combined city and highway average in our week of testing. If a turbo diesel isn't your cup of tea, the Golf SportWagen is also available with a 1.8-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder TSI gasoline engine with 170 horsepower. The new chassis comes with a McPherson strut front suspension, electric power steering, and a multi-link rear suspension, as most cars in this class do now. Tuning for the 2015 model is a bit more aggressive though, with thicker anti-roll bars and stiffer springs. One thing I'm actually pleasantly surprised about here, being the driving enthusiast that I am, is how stiffly sprung this is. Usually when you look for a high-performance suspension, you go to the GTI and you'd expect that a wagon would be quite a bit softer on its feet, but here I'm actually getting quite a bit of roll stiffness. I've got some pretty stiff springs and dampers, a lot more so than I expected here. Noise levels on rough pavement and on the highway from road noise were acceptable, the engine noise being whisper quiet at speed. Wind noise also seems to be at a minimum in most circumstances, even with the panoramic sunroof. The Golf 5-door for 2015 achieved a top Safety Pick Plus status with the IIHS as it earned good ratings in their entire battery of testing, including the small offset crash. In addition, the availability of crash prevention systems this year gave it the edge. While the 2015 Golf SportWagen has not yet been tested, it's expected to have similar results. Rounding it up for the Golf SportWagen, I have to say, I like it. I like it a lot, in fact, so much it goes on our I'd buy it list for 2015, the third car to make it on our list this year. Now, some of you might not be too surprised because I did share right up front that I am a Volkswagen owner and I do have a bit of a soft spot for the brand, but even if that weren't so, as we look at the specs here, I think they tell a story all their own. First of all, the price here. This is a fully loaded TDI SportWagen, and you can spend less, down into the 20s if you don't option it up so much, and if you go with a gasoline engine. So they're not all this expensive, but if you think about the competition, Subaru Outback, kind of a different animal. Volvo V60, a lot more money. Mercedes or BMW, even more money still. And the fuel economy, 43 mpg combined, is what we achieved this week. That city and highway, a little bit of both. That exceeds what the window sticker promises. That's always a good thing. Now, is it a perfect car? No. As we look at the stars here, you can see there were a few areas that didn't quite get all the way to 5 stars, that being the interior. Some of those trims in there just weren't quite my bag, and the infotainment system, even though it is vastly improved from last year's model, still a little bit fussy to use and doesn't quite respond as quickly to your touch as most of its competitors. And I really do still wish they'd offer leather as an option here. I'm really surprised they don't. The leatherette's nice, but if you want leather, you just can't have it. But all in, we're at 4.5 stars for the week. Not bad at all. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride.